Welcome, replay viewers, and to those coming in alive. Well, I hope you're coming in alive and live. Good to have you. Happy Friday. Welcome to Friday Q&A. You can bring your Etsy questions and ask them, and hopefully I won't miss it in the comments feed. I am Melissa from MakerySpace.com. And I love to educate and equip Etsy sellers in the more left-brained aspects of running their creative business. And changes last night. What changes are you talking about? Hey, Sarah. Hey, Sarah, I'm going to kind of answer your question. I'm not going to do a whole scope about it, but I'll mention it today. I am just realizing that I didn't disconnect from my laptop internet. I want to do that so I can stream a little bit better. Hey, Jen. So a couple things I wanted to cover before I let you ask questions, and also, oh, interesting, Laura, I did not know that. Yeah, Fedex, I'm going to talk about Fedex. Wanted to remind you too, if you have a question, you ask it, and I miss it because maybe there's some clustered together. If you're able to copy, when you type your question in, copy it so that you can paste it later, that's really helpful for being able to put it in there for me again. So I want to talk about a couple things. One is you may have noticed that Fedex is now a shipping option with Etsy shipping labels. So I know that there are some people who sell signs or other large objects. I'm wondering, I don't think Helen's on here, but my friend Helen sells globes that are painted and made into guest books for weddings. And I know that those are super bulky to ship. And so I'm thinking people with the heavier items might end up really happy about that for a couple of reasons. There's up to a 30% discount for Etsy sellers to buy Fedex. And also the fact that you can print straight from your shipping labels account is going to be huge. So I'll be interested to see some feedback from some of you who may end up utilizing it and how you like it. I think that really it's only valuable when you're getting up to those heavy items. I don't think it's ever going to beat the USPS at those lower weights, but I'm not sure really the cutoff point at which it starts becoming more advantageous. I noticed, like I put in, for example, just out of curiosity, I put in my average package weight that I pay $245 to ship at commercial base with USPS, and it was like, I want to say it was 7 something from FedEx. So there's just no comparison at those lower rates. If you want to find rates, I think, Laura, the easiest thing is just to go into your shipping labels and just pretend with one of your packages, just tweak the package dimensions and the weight just to see what comes up, and then you can just back out of it and not actually purchase a label. Play around with it that way. I'm not sure there's actually a rate sheet. I haven't looked for that to find it, but you can play around with it because there's so many different options to choose from, whether you're doing FedEx ground, home delivery, second day, all that kind of stuff. And then if you're getting any extra services like signature confirmation, there's lots of variables. So can't beat the free pickup for USPS. Yeah, that is true. I believe unless you have a big account with FedEx, you pay for pickup. So, but if you are paying, if you are having to go somewhere else for shipping anyway because your packages are really heavy and the USPS rates aren't great, it's just going to be so nice for those people to not have to go to FedEx or do it online and pay for a pickup or go drop it off by doing it in a separate site. If they can just do it right from their Etsy orders, that's going to be really, really helpful. Okay, another thing I wanted to mention is I'm seeing a lot of confusion still in groups about you are doing free on your Instagram challenge, should change that but didn't know how. I'm not sure what you mean there. So if you could maybe clarify that in a comment, then I would be able to answer that. So I'm seeing still confusion, even though it's months later, about direct checkout and PayPal. I still see people going, I want to just offer PayPal, but it's not giving me that option and stuff. So I'm just going to nutshell that for people who still might be a little bit confused by it. Prior to, I want to say about October 27th, if you have free shipping from your Etsy store, well, if your packages are light, free shipping is not necessarily a bad promo to do because it's not going to cost you a whole lot, and it could draw in some more people. And because it's US only, you're not going to be out a whole bunch of money. So I think that is still a great strategy, especially since the USPS just dropped that rate of the 1 to 3 ounce retail to $2.45 from $2.54. So I often do free shipping for my promos, and it seems to be really effective. So with PayPal and direct checkout, if you were an established shop already before about October 27th, and you had direct checkout and PayPal separate, which is the way it used to be. It used to be you could only have PayPal. Then they added direct checkout around 2012 or 13. If you had them separate, you could opt out of having them integrated together into direct checkout. And then you could go one way or the other, but you had to completely make a decision by December 31st and separate them again if you didn't want to keep them together. But if you were a new shop after October 27th, you did not have the choice to have standalone PayPal. Once you signed up, unless you're in a country that doesn't offer direct checkout. I will clarify that. If you're in a country with direct checkout, if you were a new seller after October 27th and you signed up and started a shop, then you automatically had direct checkout, which integrates PayPal. PayPal is not, you don't opt into PayPal. You don't get to choose whether or not to offer PayPal if you have direct checkout. It's just automatically included. I see people saying, I have to direct checkout but not PayPal. It's impossible. Someone can pay through PayPal if they purchase something from your shop. You don't have to have a PayPal account because it doesn't go to PayPal. It just goes to your shop payment account. So you are either, if you didn't opt out by December 31st and you had them separate, then they were automatically integrated and you cannot undo that. Or if you were a new shop, automatically integrated, cannot separate them. So you either have PayPal by itself if you're in a country that does not offer direct checkout, or you have PayPal and direct checkout separately with standalone PayPal if you opted out by December 31st, or you just have direct checkout and PayPal is included in that. So I hope that clears that up for some people that might be still a little bit confused about it. And then, okay, so Sherry asked me if I've ever had my sales total wrong in my Etsy stats dashboard. Yes, there's sometimes I notice that it takes a little while for a sale to register, but it's usually just involves sales that happened that day, maybe within the last couple of hours. I haven't seen an issue with overall the sales total being wrong, except I don't believe that if you do a return, both registered but the total is wrong, I believe if you do a return, that doesn't get changed in your sales total either. But I'm not sure, Sherry, what happened there. Maybe if you get a chance, take a screenshot for me and email it to me at melissa@makeryspace.com and then tell me what it should be, and I can maybe help you analyze what happened there. As far as someone asked, report it to Bugs. That's always a great first step because then they can look at it for you. It seems like they are more responsive if you report it in the Bugs forum than if you try to email and get a response. So I think that's a great idea. Someone asked if I offer advice for just in general setting up on Etsy. I don't do that right now because Etsy, the seller handbook, has so much great information in it that for just the initial getting all the legwork and the back stuff done as far as the actual details of it. Now, there are things that you need to do as far as your photos and your listings and that kind of thing. But as far as actually setting up shop, picking a name, all the how-tos for getting a shop set up, I'm not like reinventing the wheel there. I send people to the seller handbook. I think it's Getting Found. If you put in Getting Found, it will bring up the articles related to just getting started on Etsy. But if you have a specific question, then I'm happy to answer that. Okay. Did anyone else have a question today? Okay. Amy, that is a new feature that Etsy introduced. I'm going to read it out loud in case some of you are listening and not reading. There's some shops I can see their number of sales, but I can't click through to see what they sold. That is a new option that's being offered. If you go into your shop settings and options and scroll down, you can hide your sold listings. So the number of sold listings will show up, but no one can click on it. It's not a hyperlink. However, it will be a hyperlink for you when you're logged into your shop. So don't get confused thinking it's not working. You'll always be able to click on that and see your sold items, but someone from outside will not be able to. But people can still get to your sold items if there's a link out there. If someone has pinned an item that's sold, it's not active in your shop, or it's linked anywhere online, they can still click through. Those links are still active and will lead to the individual items, but they will not lead to your entire sold items page. Okay, so people are asking how I feel about it. Originally, I had said I probably would not hide them, and I actually changed my mind. I guess if I were selling anywhere else, nobody would be able to click through and see what I've sold and kind of snoop in that way. And I've also had some issues with others copying things, and I just decided to go ahead and hide them, because if I were in a position where I did a lot of custom items, I would not hide them, because I would want people to see what I have made, am capable of making, what maybe some other options are. But I do get convos sometimes about wanting to buy things, found that buyers will buy what has sold recently, so you're disappointed. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Sarah. I'll have people contact me about something that like a fabric that I used to have that has been discontinued and I don't have it anymore. So I feel bad having to keep telling people, no, sorry, that fabric's not available, because they're pulling up listings from like 3 years ago. So I'm just in a different situation in that I don't do the customized items where I want people to see almost like a portfolio. So if you do custom items, I would recommend maybe keeping that link active so it can function as a portfolio for you. But if you don't, you can just decide either way. I don't think there's necessarily a right or wrong answer for everyone, but I know there are some people who have hidden it because of issues where competitors will look at their items and see what's the most popular, and then they'll go, oh, this is selling really well, I'm going to start making that same thing. So, yeah, so Sarah, then you definitely don't want to make that option. Honestly, I think competitors probably click on that sales link more than buyers. I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. I have not reported anyone who's copied me. I have contacted them directly, and typically get a good response. I don't necessarily get an actual response. Yes, you can see what's popular based on reviews too. That's what I was going to say. If you want to know what a popular item is, or if you hope your buyers will see what your popular items are, they can look at the reviews. I don't always get an actual response from the person, but I'll get them yanking down their listing really fast when I send them a very informal cease and desist type of convo. So that has pretty much worked for me. I don't go searching for those anymore. I did in the beginning because I was kind of paranoid, and it was also easy because I was one of a tiny number of people selling the type of things that I sell in my niche. But now it's just really saturated, and so now I only find out if people are copying if it's like inadvertent, come across it. I used to look for it when there were a lot fewer search results for my niche. So, and besides, I found it was just making me anxious when I would search for people who were copying, and so I just don't do that. It's just if it's brought to my attention in some way, because sometimes it'll be like I click through a link to one of my listings and it's sold out or inactive, and it will show options from other shops, and I'll yeah, it does cause a lot of anxiety because then you're in knots all the time. Not just over finding the copycats, but over wondering if you're going to. Like you're looking for them, but you kind of don't want to find them. And so you're just tied up inside about it. And it's not really worth it unless you really see that they are gaining from copying you, or if they're using your actual intellectual property, like physical intellectual property, like a photo, or that kind of thing, I definitely don't think you ignore that for sure. How do you promote a really unique idea? Do you mean a product idea? I think that you get people excited about it. Tell them what you're thinking about, but don't spread your cards out there where someone could read what you're thinking about and go, oh, I'm going to do that first and get done before her. Just put out little teasers about some things that you're thinking about creating, and to generate some excitement from your audience. And that will kind of help to feed ideas for you. And you could even do a survey if you have an email list. Send them a survey, and by the survey questions, they might start getting an idea of something that you might be in the works and get excited about it, and they'll answer your survey and provide you with that information. Plus, they'll be thinking about it and anticipating when that comes out. And then when it does come out, you go ahead and just get it out there on all your social media channels and generate excitement about it. Yeah, I know. That's, Sarah, I remember that. That is so frustrating that they're using your shop name as a tag and that Etsy won't do anything about it. I think it's really kind of slimy to do that, but Etsy promoted listings. I have never used promoted listings. I just have worked really hard on my listings so that they are relevant in Etsy search without promoting them, but I know other people have used them to their benefit. There is an article that I think is pretty comprehensive in covering promoted listings that I will try to remember to link in the show notes underneath the link at MakerySpace.com/scope. You can also find it under my Periscope tab on MakerySpace.com. That's great, Sherry. And this guy goes through just really in detail all the ins and outs of those. So he'd be able to help you a lot more than me since I haven't used them. I've gone through seasons of including the packing slip. I haven't been doing it recently, but that's kind of a bummer that they're only having the shop icon on there. I wonder if that's going to stay that way. Changing tags. I do not regularly change tags because I've worked hard to get my items to be nice and relevant and have matches between titles and tags and stuff. And I am a firm believer if something's working and you're being found high in search, don't mess with a good thing. Now, there may be times that you look at your stats and you go, you know what, I'm not being found for this phrase at all, this phrase that I have in my tags. And so you might just switch that one out. Go, okay, it's obviously not getting any people to this listing, so maybe I'll try something different. But in general, when people just go in and do this constant tweaking, excuse me, of their titles and tags, it can have the opposite intended effect. So if a listing is solid in that way, I say, excuse me, I've just got a hoarse voice here. I say don't mess with a good thing. But there are times where I'll have maybe, let's say, a listing that I had in my shop that sold out a while back, and I ran out of that fabric. But then I found some more of that fabric, and I'm going to relist it again. I might take a look at those and go, you know what, I need to do some more variety here because it's looking too much like the titles and tags of a different listing. Because in the beginning, before I understood Etsy relevancy, I would just literally copy my listing and not change anything except for like the colors or whatever in it. And so all my titles, tags, and product descriptions were pretty much the same except for a couple words. So sometimes I'll renew a listing and find that it's a pretty old one, and I might not even catch it at first. I might go later and go, oh, this one looks just like that one. So that's the main tweaking I do, is when I start noticing those types of things. Or if I have a listing that's just not showing up in search, then you have nothing to lose. If it's not showing up high enough for what you would like to see happen, then go ahead and do some changes. But let that sit for a while. Don't keep tweaking it, because you need to see how it does over the course of at least a couple of weeks. How to use stats to improve keywords. So when you go to your Etsy stats, you can scroll down and see which keywords landed people in your shop in general. And then if you keep scrolling down, it will show the listings that people landed on. And if you click the listing, it will take you to a page with the stats for just that listing. And you can go back only as far as 2 months on individual listings, unfortunately. You can go back to all time in your shop, your main shop stats, but on a listing it's just 2 months. So then you can go down and see which search keyword phrases have gotten people to that particular listing. Then you can compare it. Yes, they are back, Laura. Those were missing for a couple of weeks. You can compare that to the tags that you're using on that listing, okay, and see, oh, this tag is obviously using well, and this tag that I have also in my title, this is working really well. So you can start making some decisions from there. That if you look at the last 2 months for a listing and you see, okay, these keyword phrases are bringing people to this listing, but this particular keyword phrase I have in this tag is not. So maybe I'll change that one, and you can look at some other similar listings and see the keywords that are bringing people to those, and maybe you want to use some of those as your tags in that other listing. I think you need to be careful to optimize your titles differently if you have similar items so you can be found in a variety of ways. But because you have 13 tags, it does not hurt to repeat those really solid tags that are getting people to your shop, to repeat those across multiple listings. Oh, somebody just asked something else. Does that help, Tracy? Laura, had you asked something else? I can't remember if it had to do with stats or not. Oh, you asked how often, somebody asked how often okay, Alyssa, must have been you. How much do I change a description text so it's a near identical item? Honestly, it depends on the day. I go through phases where I go through and I really try to make a lot of changes so they sound different in the description. And that's for the sake of Google, really. It doesn't matter in Etsy search because Etsy search doesn't factor in the description. So I do that more for Google, so there's not a whole lot of duplicating of stuff. But honestly, I have gotten less worried about that just because getting individual listings from your shop to show up in Google is super, super, super hard now. I used to have a lot more listings show up in organic Google search like early in my shop days, but Etsy started introducing those market pages in Google to where if you see it'll say popular items for blah, blah, blah on Etsy. And whatever that blah, blah, blah is a tag. And so if you have any keyword phrases that are 20 characters or less that you're trying to optimize for, most likely when someone searches that on Google, it's going to bring up Etsy's market page. So in my case, it might be cash envelope wallet. Popular items for cash envelope wallet on Etsy are going to show up higher than just about anyone's individual listings. And then people click through and they see a whole bunch of different people's listings. So I do have some listings that get, individual listings that get organic Google traffic, which is not the same as Google product listing ads. Those are the paid ads that Etsy pays for. That is not organic traffic from Google search results. I do have some individual listings that still get hits from Google organic traffic, but it is really not super common to see individual Etsy listings. I'm not talking about shops here. I'm talking about individual listings show up high in Google search results. No, Tracy, Google and Etsy have some differences. There are ways you can optimize for both, but there are things that Google crawls and reads and are important with Google that the Etsy algorithm doesn't. For example, the shop title, little tagline that you have underneath your shop name. Etsy, that doesn't factor into relevancy at all. But for Google, it will show up as the title in the search result. The announcement, we've talked about this a little bit in the past week or two. The announcement has changed a bit. That used to be returned as a snippet in Google, and now most people are having that boilerplate generic browse more items from a time for everything on Etsy, a marketplace of handmade and artisan gifts or whatever. But that announcement is also not factored into Etsy's algorithm. Google reads your tags, but they don't really carry any weight in search results, but they're huge on Etsy. So there are a multitude of different ways that they are not the same, but you can still, there are ways of optimizing for both effectively. But if you're if you're not real established in Etsy search, I would focus on that first. What about titles? Will the same keywords work? I'm not sure what you mean. Okay, so someone asked for clarification on, oh, thanks, Laura. I'm not sure that I'm qualified enough to do a course on it, but I know enough to be dangerous and to help people. just not necessarily an expert. And I won't, like I've said, I will not call myself that, even if it may appear that I know a lot. Does a Facebook page help SEO? So there are varying opinions. Most SEO experts, like think Moz, if you don't know who Moz is, you can look them up, but they are definitely a highly reliable source of information for SEO. They believe that social signals don't necessarily make you rank higher on their own in Google, but because of the fact that social posts and that kind of thing can bring traffic to your shop and or your website, and there's backlinks and all like the kind of the more extraneous parts of social, like Facebook, can help you in Google. It's just that posting about something on Facebook itself, it's not necessarily going to help you in Google search results get higher. It's kind of the indirect effect of using social. Okay. Are there any other questions I missed? I noticed they're clumps. Yeah, that's what I've heard, Tracy, that people who post their stuff on Google+, it can help them in Google search results because obviously it's owned by Google. It's just so dead over there that I don't think many people really think about doing it. But if you want to do it as a strategy just to maybe see how it helps you in Google search results, that's definitely worth it to experiment with. It can't hurt. Anything else? Good. Yeah, I'm sure that there is. I wonder, you could look like at Zapier or, so if this then that went away, I think. Look at some of those, like Buffer and Hootsuite, they probably do it too, but I'm trying to think of maybe some free ones that you could experiment with, that automation. Zapier is kind of like an if this then that. If you do something here, then it zaps and triggers something to happen somewhere else. Isn't it if? So did they just rebrand, Alyssa, rather than completely fold? I'm going to check into that today because I have not heard that. I thought I had heard that they were just going away. So I'm going to look that up. Maybe it's just if. Okay, and I'll try to get back with that question. I know there are several different things like that, automation services that have Etsy ones. I know if this then that did have some things, like if I post a new listing on Etsy, then post it to my Facebook account or that kind of thing that you could set up for your shop. So I'll check into a few of those and see which ones are available for shop owners. I do warn you against, oh yeah, I think Buffer does have a free level. I warn you against automating to the point where all that's getting posted is listing stuff because people aren't going to engage and follow you. Yeah, for Pinterest you need like Board Booster or Tailwind, other things that you can schedule, but I'm not sure. Are there any that integrate actually with Etsy, or do you have to do all those manually? I don't recommend that you do something where you're constantly automating new, okay, thanks, Alyssa, where you're automating new listings to be constantly posted to Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and then you're just flooding people's feed with those. They should probably be more fewer and far between, and make sure you're posting other content as well, because I don't really think that's effective. I don't follow anybody on Twitter that just posts their products all the time and never any other content. So definitely want to mix that up. And really, your content should be a smaller percentage than other people's content. Seller Tools. Is that a different kind of an app, Tracy? It's called Seller Tools. See, do you know who Amy Lynn Andrews is? You might know who she is if you blog at all. Love her. You might get her newsletter. she was just talking today about how she's a wing it person. I am totally a wing it person in so many areas until I figure something out that works, and then I'll kind of create a system around it. But that's totally the way I am. So like with scheduling things, I have not created a system for scheduling things at this point. Opening Etsy on your work computer, close your store. I've never heard that one before. It could possibly get you in trouble at work if you're not supposed to be going around online. But I have never heard of that happening. Now, maybe what you're asking is having different IP addresses logging into your account. So maybe you're logging in from home and then you're logging in from work. I have heard of some stories where people end up getting contacted and have to prove that they are actually the same person logging in from different places. Or I've heard of people logging in for like their fiance or whatever, like there's two different shops and one IP address, and then they have to prove that they're not trying to hide anything, like not disclosing a second shop or something. So sometimes I think there's a lot more behind those stories than just something as simple as your shop was logged into from two different IP addresses. I'm not sure. I would contact Etsy support about that, because that would be something really good thing to get a direct answer from them about, because I could see how you might be concerned about that if that's the basis for your question, just to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for any kind of suspicion or anything. And I know there are people that have helpers that have to log into their shop and they don't live in the same house. So there's got to be ways that they look into that, you know, because you're allowed to have shop help. So if you have that remotely, then they're not going to be logging in from the same IP address. Any other questions? Alrighty. Well, I hope you have a wonderful weekend and hope to see you back here on Monday. I'm trying to think. Monday, do I have something? Oh no, Tuesday. Tuesday is the day. Yeah, I think it's a really, really good question. Tuesday is the day that I'm going to have to scope probably at 10, because I have a conference call that I need to be part of at 10:30. So Monday I'll probably try to do around 10 too, just to keep it consistent, because I have a blab. So just count on 10-ish on Monday and Tuesday. Alrighty, I'll talk to you later.